Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Refinement Mastermind call. We do this Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. But on Wednesdays, we do it public on YouTube. Just a reminder for everybody listening, maybe for the first time, we do a beginner call right after this call. And I also consider this morning call kind of a beginner call. You can ask any question at any level, but we have one specifically for beginners after this call. Today's topic is resellers are getting what's coming to them. And I feel like pretty much everyone gets the amount of sales that they deserve to get on eBay, as weird as that sounds. So in the group, we now have a new $100,000 a year group call, $250,000 a year group call, and $2 million a year group calls. We added those in. Really, the main difference between those different levels is just how long people have been doing this. I've been full-time since 2017, and I've been consistent with this call, with YouTube, with reselling. I'm actually, if you look at how long it takes me to learn things, I would consider myself one of the slowest learners in the group. So hopefully you guys don't, hopefully everyone listening right now can learn faster than I did, because I made a lot of unnecessary mistakes along the way. So consistency is big. And I want to talk today about like the trajectory of where your store is going. And can you change that at all? So as an example, Isaiah in the group was saying he has X amount of money in his bank account. If you continue the same path though, in 5 years, you're probably going to have either the same amount in your bank account, or if you've been saving X amount of money each year, you can add those up and kind of guess where you're going. So I want people here to get an idea of where they are going. I know for sure if I continue on this trajectory of reselling, I'll be at definitely $10 million a year or more in sales. If I just continue, I don't have to do anything different. I just have to continue this trajectory of every day improving a little bit. And over time, it'll turn into that. Because even though I'm a slow learner, I've been learning for 6 years straight. So maybe we can start with Pixie this morning. Pixie, what have you learned maybe about yourself and how you can change where you're going?
I have learned that I'm a very stubborn soul. It took me a long time to kind of like not pick up everything that I thought I could make money on and to really pass on things that were below where I wanted to be. And that's probably the best thing that I've learned is it's okay to walk away and to kind of stick to where you want to be instead of everything can make money. And it really seems stupid to walk away from money, but you end up making more money by doing so.
That's interesting, Pixie. And that's going to be our conversation topic for tomorrow's podcast. A lot of people have been saying, can you just list 10 items a day and make 100,000 a year? Being an everything seller. Just go to the thrift store, get 10 items that are $30 profit in any category, right? And if you have a 1% sell-through rate, you only need 1,000 items in your store. List 10, sell 10, $30 profit each, everything store. There's been so many versions of this flowing everywhere on YouTube, and we want to talk about it tomorrow, but it might not be possible. I was thinking to myself, is Linda here?
Yeah, I'm here.
I was thinking maybe Linda could do it. Like literally 10, you can't be the same thing. 10 different things: vacuum, toaster, jewelry, shoes, doorknob, rare wood, right? Okay, first off, you would have to be really, really, really experienced to be able to find a $30 profit item in 10 different categories, right? And then you'd have to go home and figure out how to list these things. And you most likely you would, maybe you knew a lot about it, but you wouldn't know the exact pricing. So you'd spend more time researching. Every single one would have a different kind of testing, repair. Every single one would be stored differently. And I was like, if you're not Linda, don't even try that. That's like so hard. 10 different categories. Like you can't pick up 2 necklaces. That's too easy. Got to be 10 completely separate, random things. And it kind of like, I almost felt physical pain thinking about that. I was like, that would suck. Like it would be hard to even fit in your car because you wouldn't know, like, is this fragile? You know, it just, 10 completely separate categories. So Pixie was saying she's making money by leaving the item there. It's hard to eat that when you're like, hey, that could be $20 profit, but I'll make more than $20 leaving it there and just focusing. But I was just thinking, because Tech was saying he may not be able to do it. And he has a lot of knowledge, and he may not be able to do 10 completely different categories, 365 days a year. But made me think maybe Linda could do it, because 10 listings, you know, she could knock them out quick. It's just the prep, research, storing, shipping. 10 random items would probably require 8 different kind of boxes, potentially. So anyway, just see,
Yeah,
Linda said you have to pick the same size items. I guess that might be the hack. But then we're going back down to niching down. And honestly, I'll tell you guys right now, niching to small things is not terrible. If you're an everything seller in the beginning, at least everything small. Everything big and small, I don't know if I want to subscribe to that. That sounds challenging. K-Storm, what's up?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I was just going to say completely different categories. That wouldn't apply though if you do hard goods, because hard goods is one category, but it's a bunch of completely different things. So you mean completely different things, right? But not necessarily categories all the time.
I even find that hard goods sellers have a pretty challenging time staying consistent. Although, because that category is so big, right? So it makes it more difficult, but I'm talking about like musical instrument, hard good, socks, toaster, coffee machine, bread maker. Like, even though a bread maker and a coffee machine are kind of in the same category, they're not the same thing. Also, coffee machines have mold. So like, that's a very challenging category to sell something where water flows through it. That's very dangerous, because like there are also you can get in trouble selling moldy items. So I would rather sell a toaster than a coffee maker. But imagine toaster and coffee maker and roller skates in the same day. That sounds, when you put it like that, does that help people understand that niching down would make it easier? That's probably the number one tip from the group. There's people who like, okay, but if I were to tell you guys, list 10 of the same item and make 6 figures, there's tons of people in the group who do that. One category. So, I mean, but there's no examples of an everything seller that's even 10 a day. So Beth's saying part out coffee makers. Yeah, you can do that. Also, the coffee parts that don't touch water, like as an example, the trays, the water containers, those are all super valuable and replaceable, and pieces that move, those often break. Lisa's saying, isn't it recommended to sell items that have the same photo layout? Yeah, I mean, it's recommended to sell anything that's similar. You want to just stick to. That's probably my number one lesson from the group, is try to stay in your lane if you can. I mean, it's just like, go ahead.
I was just going to jump in right quick and say I did watch, well, I still kind of watch her sometime, one lady on YouTube, but she had her plan in place. Like, she said that she moved to a specific house because the basement was large enough to hold all of her items that she was going to sell. You know what I mean? Like, so she had a plan to starting with it. And not only that, she lives in a place where she could find all these amazing different hard goods. And, you know, she just worked her plan, but she kind of had a plan. And she said she makes 6 figures, probably does.
I think 6 figures is actually pretty easy. I can give you guys the formula. One category for 5 to 10 years. That's it. Be consistent, one category, 5 to 10 years. I would be surprised if you don't make 6 figures. I know Karen. Karen is Lavender Clothesline. I love Karen, but I don't think she makes 6 figures. It's too random. Like, it's too difficult. She does live in Pennsylvania, where it's a little bit cheaper to live, but the way that she sources is too wide to be able to make 6 figures, because it takes too long. like if you look at her Instagram or her videos, she sells amazingly cool stuff. If she didn't, she wouldn't be able to have like, she's very knowledgeable. And maybe she could sell 1 to 5 random unique things a day, but 10 a day, every day, 365 days a year, there's no way. That's way too hard. But she's a cool lady that she has been doing this for a long time. I like the idea of having the eBay shed or the eBay basement. That was actually, I was inspired by Teresa Cox when she walked out of her house and walked into her eBay shed. I was like, oh, I want that eBay shed. That's so cool. Your business is not in your house, but yeah, it's at your house. So you can walk out and then into your store. And I think she has that now. She has a detached garage or something. She has a new setup in Arizona where she has a separate thing for her eBay. Also, is it John? There's a gentleman in Buffalo, New York in the group that has an eBay attic, and it's really cool. So I really, really love that separation. And I think that's another tip from the group that I really love, is having some separation so that your work and life is not the same thing all day, 24/7. I love having it separate. But yeah, Karen is cool. Also, people have asked in the chat, is Harry Tornado an everything seller? I personally don't think so. He sells mainly the same categories. Maybe he'll sell something unusual for YouTube, but like for the most part, he stays in his lane. Like he sells stuff that he finds at the flea market in only a few different categories. Oh, Isaiah, what I mean by reselling is getting what's coming to them is that Isaiah had asked, like, let's just use me as an example. Let's say I had $3,000 in my bank account, and I saved $3,000 over the last year reselling. But I don't like that. That's maybe not enough for me. So I want to save $30,000 next year, 10x it, as we say in the group. So you have to usually create a 10x plan. So if you create a 10x plan, you're consistent for a whole year, you're way more likely to have $30,000 in your bank account instead of 3. And I think that everyone gets what's coming to them. Like, I don't accidentally sell hundreds of items a day. It's not an accident. It's like years of planning to do that. So I think, I mean, this is going to sound weird, but I think Tech deserves 250 sales a day because he's been doing the plan for that. What's weird is when people do the plan for 5 sales a day and they expect 10 sales a day, because that doesn't make sense. And oh no, do you guys think what goes around comes around? Because I think that's a pretty good way of approaching this. That's why it's so difficult. Back to my original thought, then we'll go to Sally. Listing 10 unique items every single day is relentless. iPhone, do you have a comment? Maybe not. I'll mute them. Sally?
You might have been busy with baby last night. Were you in on Tech's call? I wasn't in on all of it, but he said something was really resonated with me, and I think I hope with other resellers, especially those who are under a couple of years, and that is, don't keep making changes. Don't make permanent changes based upon temporary circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back and read
Definitely.
his income every month, back when he started. And some months he would drop $10,000 in the month on profit.
Definitely.
And he said, and I tend to do that. Like right now, I'm kind of in a sales slump. I can't figure out why. So my inclination was, man, maybe I ought to change categories, do this. No, ride out the storm. I think that knowing your numbers and seeing if there are some key indicators that tell you why you might be, but sometimes crap just happens, Chris, that. You do the same thing, and one day you'll have 1 sale, another day you'll have 10 sales. It just happens. So yes, you get what you deserve, but sometimes you need to ride it long enough to make sure that it's not an aberration, and not make knee-jerk changes, because you'll never know what works. Nothing happens quickly in eBay, I think.
And Sally, like my husband and I met with our financial advisor last night, and he was saying the same thing, just about our finances, like write it out, keep it, adding to your 401k, the economy is in a slump right now, but it doesn't stay in a slump. It never has just stayed that way for a decade. So he's saying the same thing, you know, some people are panicking, pulling their money out. You just ride it out.
Yeah, I mean, Tech always says we're not in business for a day or a week, but this goes back to you get what you deserve. If you sign up to sell on eBay, you deserve up and down sales because nobody has the same sales every day. It doesn't make sense. If you owned a brick and mortar, there would never be the same number of people who walked in. You would never sell the same number of pizzas. You didn't sign up for that. A job, you get paid the same.
I think this knowing, especially in the first few years, knowing what is normal, because we're all quick to talk about our successes. And as a group, we don't concentrate on the negative, like, oh, I had a terrible day, I had a terrible week, I think I'm going to jump off the bridge. But the truth is, normal with eBay is a sleigh ride. And you just hope that that curve keeps going up as it goes up and down rather than down. But understanding what normal is. So yes, you get what you deserve. And I kind of was going to argue with you about that because I know a lot crap happens to good people, but no, you're not talking about that. You're saying if you sign up for eBay, know the beast you're going to ride and then decide to do it and realize that normal is not predictable necessarily in eBay.
Michael's asking what my typical monthly fluctuation is. It's a lot. It's like $20,000 to $50,000 different. Because it depends on what I get. Like I'm never gonna make less than 100,000 a month in gross because that won't happen. But like some months I'll do in the last 12 months, I've had months over 200. And so it's actually 100,000. I haven't had any months under 100,000, and I've had a couple months over 200,000. But I really haven't done anything different. It just depends on like I know now, okay. I can say right now in May, I'll probably do 250,000. But that's because I have I bought shoes last month that arrived this month that I can sell next month. I bought some nursing shoes from, I forgot the name of the company, but the shoe people will know when I get them. But the process is the same. The inventory will be slightly different, and also the customers will be slightly different. It'll be different season during the year, so you really don't know. But there's the setup is predictable, but you don't know what's going to happen. Literally, last year I did multiple days that were $20,000 different back to back. Like today 30,000, next day 10,000. But I don't look at it day by day either. I look at it month by month. So there's no it's not Dansko. It's I'll look it up. I blanked. But I bought the entire return run. So this is gonna I'm gonna try to do this over the course of my career as a reseller. I'm gonna try to figure out where all the returns come from and try to get the whole thing. Because if you guys have had any experience buying bulk, what'll happen is you end up buying bulk that's already been looked through. Right. So somebody will buy returns from, let's say the one that I really want to get that everybody wants is Free People. So usually Free People will sell their returns to somebody. It'll be like, $2 million. They'll take out whatever they want, sell to another liquidator. They'll take out what they want, sell to another liquidator. By the time you get your $100 reseller box, they've already taken out 90% of the good stuff. The brand is Clove, CLOVE. So this is one of those brands that has a really, really, really high sell-through rate on eBay. It's a 1% sell-through shoe. And I bought the entire return run from 2022. So I have all of the returns for the whole company, Clove. So I know that since I don't have to battle anybody for the competition, I have all of them. I can just take my time and sell them for, I don't have to compete with Race to the Bottom. But what you deserve is like, it's taking me I've bought millions of dollars worth of returns at this point, trying to figure out a whole bunch of different things. And I've seen a whole bunch of different business models pop up from this because retail is struggling. Retail is really hard. Everyone here, the reality is we are in retail. We sell stuff to customers on the other end. just without a brick and mortar, right? We're doing it person to person. So the reality of retail is that it's very challenging. The one interesting part about us is that most of us do not have employees or brick and mortar, but you're doing the same thing. And you also don't need to pay Keystone. Think about how difficult it would be to be a reseller if you had to pay 50% of what it sells for. That's very hard, right? There's people that say, I won't buy it unless I make 10 times my money. That doesn't exist in a brick and mortar unless you sell coffee. I guess coffee, I'm pretty sure, costs less than 50 cents a cup and they sell for $5. With the exception of drinks, most companies do not have those kinds of margins. And I wonder what Starbucks' average sale price is. Can somebody look it up? It's got to be under $5. How many cups of coffee you just sell? A ton. But as a reseller, you could pick up $20 or $30 ASP and you don't need to sell as many things. Kinko's, their average sale price is $1. Like, you got to sell a lot of things. Beth, you have a comment? You just unmuted. So I guess today's conversation is you learn in the group what you can do to change your trajectory. So yesterday I talked about some, well, I can tell, getting a few more hours of sleep last night, I feel way better. The trajectory you can get by changing a few different things is totally different. So if, as an example, everybody went thrifting on the same route all year, and every single day you wrote down what happened that day for a whole year. Like, tech at this point is not really journaling, but it's interesting when you guys go back and look at his like calendar where he's like $600 profit, $800 profit, $1,000 profit. When he's writing it down, he's essentially learning what happened that day, and no 2 days are the same. Isn't that weird? No 2 days are the same, but you deserve it. I got 10,000 plus pairs. A couple people have asked. So all of the returns for the whole year. Catherine, what's up?
I just agree with you so much about you get what you deserve, because when we were talking with our guy last night, he said there are 48% of Americans have no money set aside for retirement.
Yeah.
Almost half, but $100 billion was spent last year on gambling.
Wait, how much?
$100 billion.
Oh, 100 billion. I thought you said 100 million. I was like, that's way too low. 100 billion.
No.
Okay.
$100 billion spent on gambling. So people are like, I don't want to do the work. I don't want to, work to set the money aside. I want the quick money. They pee and moan about, I don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but they're not doing the work.
They're not doing the work. Yeah, that's a good point.
So they're getting what they deserve. They don't, not that everybody deserves to not have retirement, but you just have to look at your life differently. He had one guy come in and in a big, beautiful, brand new truck, that was probably, I don't know how much, $50,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm putting $50 aside every month for retirement.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, that's not enough. Why are you driving that truck?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And his payment on the truck was $850 a month, but he's only putting $50 a month to, you just got to look at it differently.
That seems low on that payment, but unless he put a lot down.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Most people spend more on coffee than they do on their retirement. Heidi, what's up? That's weird.
Hi,
part of
Chris,
this.
how are you?
I'm doing great.
Chris, a quick question. Because of my situation with my eyes, I was wondering, do you still offer to sell the planner? I know you had a hard copy. You used to promote a hard copy, I think, of a planner. I'm having a hard time creating the Excel sheet on the things that I bought. And I'm not techie when it comes to computer stuff. So I need a kind of like a plan, whether it's hard copy or someone to help me create the Excel sheet so I can start plugging in some stuff.
Okay, so I can help you even before that.
Okay.
I wouldn't start with that. If you're a beginner, I would start with just paper. All you need to know is what it's sold for. You can write this down or I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
What it's sold for, what you paid for it, shipping costs, eBay costs. That's really it actually in the beginning. You just need to know what it's sold for, what you paid for, how much you paid for shipping, and how much you paid eBay. That's it. You don't need a spreadsheet. I don't recommend a spreadsheet actually for anybody.
The doc that you created,
Yeah.
you don't.
No, well, at least not at your level, because
Okay.
it's more useful to just do it on paper because you get to see, okay, I paid 5, I sold it for 25. I paid 8 for shipping and eBay fees were 3.
Okay.
So then what do I have left? That's way more useful on paper than it is on an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so like I joke that I'm an Excel deca millionaire because I can just drag the columns into the future and I'm rich. You can't do that on paper. You just like can only write one thing at a time. So you'll learn, okay, 5, like as an example, you buy it for 5, sell it for 25. Shipping is 8. eBay fees are 3. So that is 11, 6, a $9 profit. That's all you need. If you write that down on paper, what you bought, what you sold it for, and you know that you buy for 5, sell for 25 with $8 shipping, that's a $9 profit. That's all you need to know to get started. Then that is what the spreadsheet is. So, but you need to understand it on paper first. So that's why tech recommends doing that from $0 to $100 profit. So you can now program your brain into thinking the buy cost. That way, when you're out looking for things, you know, okay, this is what this is. This is the differential. This is how much profit I'm going to make. Then at the end of the month, you can just do categories. So how much did I spend on stuff? How much I spend on shipping? And you can do your eBay taxes and accounting in 5 minutes.
Okay.
No, I don't recommend a spreadsheet. Most people don't have time for that.
All right. Do you still have the hard copy book that you sold? Like this white paper, is it just digital?
Yeah. Wait.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Max is saying 0 to 100. Let me see. Is that not $9? Let me see.
And I have a few questions, Chris, so I hope you bear with me.
I feel like it is $9 profit. Am I not doing it right? If you buy for 5 and sell for 25 shipped with $8 shipping, is it not $9 profit? I just want to make sure I would check myself. I think that's right. But I'm saying like the spreadsheet is just that on the spreadsheet. So because that's the thing, like I don't want people to recommend, I don't want to recommend people use the spreadsheet instead of learning how it works. I have the spreadsheet available for everyone, but learning how it works makes it a lot easier. So Autumn, I'm saying 25 shipped, and you should always include shipping in the revenue. That's how accounting works for reselling. You include the shipping cost, but not the tax.
Well, the thing is for me is taking the baby steps. So just so you know my format, right now I'm using Macari. Macari seems to be simple for me.
Yep. It's more straightforward. Yeah.
It's simple, and you see the revenue right within a week, right on your, I guess, your account before you could withdraw it and put it in the bank. So it seems simple for now. And it seems like the platform, I really want to get into eBay, but this is the problem. So I have like 10 luxury bags. Yeah. I keep hearing online in regards to putting in those private codes that belong to the bag because of people stealing them to counterfeit.
I definitely would not sell a luxury bag if you are.
I don't want to, but I have 10 that I need to get rid of right now.
Then I would send them to the Real. Because you have no business listing that because there's a lot of work that goes into authenticating a bag.
I know Macari's charging like $5. I'm not.
But I'm saying you need to understand the significance of the date code. Like, why is that important? Right. So
I understand that part, Chris. I just eBay sent me a notice that if I didn't authenticate it with them, they took down my listing. Okay. Macari wants me to go.
You're not experience, that's why I took down your listing. Like
Got
if
it.
there's people who list 100 luxury bags a day and they're okay because they have experience doing that and they have all the things in place to allow the customer the confidence to buy that type of item.
Okay.
In the beginning, you will just get suspended. You can't sell luxury stuff if you're a beginner because no one will trust you. eBay certainly doesn't trust you. Like if you were to buy a luxury bag from somebody with less than 10 feedback, you could get it for free by just telling eBay this is fake, and they're going to believe you, not the seller, because the seller just started. They don't know what they're doing.
But let's say I own them. Like those are mine that I need to. I'm
Doesn't
trying
matter.
to go with what the concept that you've taught. Like
It
start
doesn't
with
matter
your
because
house.
they don't know that. Customer
Okay.
doesn't know that. eBay doesn't know that. And you're not like, there's a way to do it where like you take 40 pictures and include the certificate of authenticity, and you're a Gucci expert and you explain all the stuff. Maybe that doesn't get taken down, but still probably gets taken down if you're just starting.
Okay.
So Autumn, it's not 25 plus 8 because, okay, so back to the example that we're doing for Heidi. Whenever I'm talking numbers on eBay, I'm talking including shipping. So like when I use the number, just so everyone has reference in all my videos, I talk including shipping, because 8 and a 30 text model for success and a $15 profit, that's including shipping. And he's primarily shipping first class. So you got to consider all these things. But I would, if it's a luxury bag and you have it, I would just send it to the Real. It doesn't cost you any money. There's no fear. You won't get suspended. You won't you're jeopardizing your account by listing a luxury item. I would not do that.
Okay. One more question.
Sure.
Is there a way to have a consultation with you one-on-one about my situation? Just so, I don't know if you have a calendar or.
I don't do that because I don't have enough time, but I'm happy to, anybody can just email me. My email is chris@dailyrefinement.com. I'll do my best. Try to not write me an essay and just write me a couple of questions that I can, like, as an example, your background is not as important as I'm getting started. How do I learn? Okay, one item at a time, start with stuff around the house. Don't buy anything. Don't sell anything luxury. Don't sell anything that can jeopardize your account. No fancy stuff in the beginning. Sell a pair of shoes that's under $100. Sell a jacket, sell a vest, sell a backpack, sell coffee mug. Don't sell a luxury purse right out the gate. But then learning, like what I'm telling you right now, Heidi, is like advanced eBay is just understanding the numbers. That's it. It's not like when you buy a $50,000 truck and you're trying to retire early, it sets you back like 2 years. Right? So like you think I could retire 2 years earlier, or this $50,000 truck makes it easier to pick something different. But I just want to one more thing on the how many people in here want to not worry about money? Because I learned that from the group. So like I was telling my wife yesterday, I was like, you know what? If I keep doing what I'm doing, we don't have to worry about money ever again. And she's like, yeah, but you've been working on 3 businesses for 6 years consistently. That's why we don't have to worry about money. That's the part. That's the 99% of the reason why we don't have to worry, because you're consistent working on something. So like thinking about Tech being consistent and not missing his listing goal for 13 years, listening to Jack LaLanne, the fitness guy, not missing a workout for 60 years. Like that's so cool. Like they even had to put on his obituary, this is so ridiculous, that he was exercising right till the very end, because like he said it would be bad for his reputation to die early, because like he's so fit. Why would he die early? So he's like, I just can't die early, because otherwise people would say, oh no, I don't want to work out because I'll die early. So it's just like everything is consistency. And that's the part of the group, like, that's the most valuable part. Hopefully people are understanding that consistency is everything. There's people in the 250,000 group on Tuesdays that list 15 items a day. Heidi, she's just starting. Let's say she's at 1 item a day. 1 item a day and 15 items a day, you can see the finish line. You can see the promise line. If you can do this one time, one sold, then you're like, okay, I just need to learn how to do this more often. That's it. It just takes time though. If you don't take the time to figure out all the numbers on the one item, you can't ever advance to the next. You're skipping ahead, Heidi. You need to start with just one item on paper. Your background doesn't matter. Like if you send me that email, I'm only going to read the last paragraph that says, I'm starting by selling a couple of things that I have. And then we'll focus on those couple of things you have and try to make a profit on them. The background doesn't matter, because there's people here that are like, there's the entire blind center in Las Vegas where 30 people work in an eBay store and they're all blind. Right? There's people that are single parents of 4 people. There's people who have a full-time job. There's also people who are born rich and do this for fun. There's the whole range of people, but it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Sell something and see how much profit you make at the end of the day. But buy for 5, sell for 25, $9 profit, or buy for 8, sell for 30. First class mail, $15 profit. These are all things that mentally in your brain, actually 8 and a 30 is pretty much all you need. You go to the thrift store and you're thinking 8 and a 30. Tech told me 8 and a 30. And you just do that the whole time you resell, you won't get in trouble. You'll never have to use delist, relist ever. You'll never have an item that sucks so bad that you need to do these weird tricks to sell. But anyway, this group is for frameworks. It's for consistency. It's to learn how to do this. Maybe I can call on Lisa. Lisa, can you chat? She might be listening to something else. Let's go to Stasia.
I'm listening to you, Chris. Or Lisa Taylor or Lisa P?
Yeah.
There's actually 4 Lisas. I'm sorry. I was calling on Lisa T because she's new to the group, and I wanted to give her an idea of like what, or ask her like what she's learning from the group.
I think
There's 2 Lisa T's. Sorry, but go
Oh my
ahead.
gosh, a different Lisa T. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I've just been learning consistency so far right
But
now.
you have been learning that.
Mhm.
So
I've never been consistent.
but how did that come up in the group? How are you learning that that's important?
Because it's probably the only thing that started getting me sales every day.
Interesting.
I for a while I wasn't able to, or I wasn't doing listing every day because I felt like I didn't have the right stuff or enough stuff. But then when I started actually doing it, even just 3 every day, that's when I started getting 2 or 3 every day after a week or 2.
Oh my God, Lisa, that's awesome. What do you guys think? Is consistency the only thing that works? That's pretty wild. Okay, that's I've never heard anybody say that. Lisa said it was the only thing she tried that works, is being consistent, listing 3 a day every day, and now she sells 2 to 3 a day. Man. Yvonne says she's been learning to list daily, systems in place and structure. You've learned title structure and to build your own listings. See, Yvonne, that's the same thing. Building your own listings from scratch is the same thing as learning in the numbers. Hopefully that makes sense, because like you learn why the title is important, why the photos are important, why the item specifics are important, why the price is important, returns, shipping, all that, how it all ties in. Catherine, do you have another comment?
No, sorry. I'll lower my hand.
All good. Rachel?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if consistency is the only thing that works, because you can consistently fill your store with items that don't sell.
That's true. That is true.
So with consistency, like that's what I'm learning. It's like I have to schedule every day. Like I have to do a minimum of, like I have to learn 1 new brand a day. I've started scheduling that in, because there would be days that now that I'm working again, it's like there will be days that I'm not even looking, and at like the research of what's out there. So you have to continually be like, I guess, filling your cup with your brand knowledge and things like that. So,
last week, Tech and I had a podcast where we talked about an irresistible deal. So let's say that you find something really cool at the thrift store and then you offer it and at a good price, good returns, good shipping, and then people end up buying it. Right. That was the point of the podcast. But if you guys get something really cool, it's a good price, good shipping, good pictures, good return policy, somebody will buy it. That was the point of the podcast. And that was the saltiest the comments have ever been, ever. People were saying it's not fair to have to do homework before you go out and thrift. That's not fair.
That's like saying it's not fair that doctors have to study before they help people.
Wow, are you serious? Okay. Yeah. The thing I've learned, the epiphany I've learned lately, and this is probably directly from door number 1, door number 2, going back to what you deserve.
Yeah.
I think I approached reselling as a treasure hunter more than a business person. So between the numbers and door number 1, door number 2, and fact checking and getting your stuff beforehand, I think is doing your stuff like a business versus just going out there and hoping and praying and hoping you find gold.
I agree with you, Max. I don't know why people were so salty. People were literally mad. Like, that advice is so unfair. I don't want to do the homework before I go out there. And I had never even heard of that kind of objection, but people were really mad about that advice of you can research something before you go thrifting. Jeannie?
I was actually going to say just about the exact same thing, Max. I was just thinking, how many of part of this group, when you start listening to people talk, how many of us have said on multiple occasions that we have all bought crap that we didn't know if it was going to sell or not? We did a cursory glance at eBay sold. We're like, oh, okay, it's great. And then we bought it and it was crap. And we paid $8 for it and we can finally sell it for $3. Every single one of us has done that. Everybody in this group has done that at some point. And yes, part of it is learning as you go, but it's a lot easier if you listen to people who know what they're doing and have done it before, who can sit there and say, okay, try, if you sell a couple of things and you're like, okay, well, this is doing well, then start looking at that stuff, like really look at it. Walmart doesn't go and just arbitrarily say, I'm going to sell this today. We're going to buy 1 million units of this, even though it's never been sold in the US, and we're going to pay top dollar on it. They're doing research, they have that kind of stuff. So why would they? I'm sorry, I'm kind of with Max. That blows my mind. It just blows my mind. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because if you, let's say,
listen to what people are saying.
I know, but it was just like thinking about, the argument was like, if you research jackets, let's say that you are, you're new and you hear on the group, jackets are good. And then you go, before you go to the thrift store, you're like, okay, I know that Patagonia is good. I know that wool is good. Cashmere is good. I know that goose down is maybe valuable. Look at some different stuff. And then you go looking, it's like magical. You'll be like, wow, I actually found some goose down things today. I found some LL Bean. That's cool. I found some Woolrich. That's cool. You found some of the things you were looking for versus you just go see what you can find. I know that is potentially more fun, but I think it's pretty fun finding things that you've researched too.
I think it's way more fun to find something that you've researched.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh. But I think it's also the reason why we get stuck in that is because most of us start off with selling things that we found around the house. Right. So in the very beginning, like when you did your 100 items, it's like, we're just selling whatever. So it's literally, what can I find? And can somebody pay me for it? But the difference is if we have it, we already have some knowledge on it. But then when we go out into the wild, right, we're kind of doing, the the concept hasn't gotten there that we know something about this already. So when we're going out shopping, we're just like, okay, well, I guess I'll see what else I can find that people will spend money for. But then it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I'm starting to recognize these brands. I'm starting to notice a little bit more. I just think the research is really important. And at the same time, I can go down a rabbit hole of research and not get anything else done. So I have to like go, okay, I have to limit myself on the time that I go to it. But yeah, so consistency, but you have to consistently also be learning your craft and learning your items.
I know we touched a nerve because it was the angriest people have ever been. And it's a podcast. I don't even know why you would get angry. People were just like, no, that is not how you do it. You do not research before you go out. And it was just kind of an unusual. We didn't even say like you have to do that. We just recommend you do some homework before you go to the thrift store. Matt?
Yeah, I totally agree about researching beforehand, because then it's just gonna keep you more alert to seeing what's out there. But also while out, like the touch test is also good too. When you're touching a lot of clothes, you're gonna feel the quality differences, and you're gonna find new brands that way too. So I think it's a combination of everything. Excuse me, of everything. So kind of know what you're looking for when you're going out, but also you are going to come across things that you don't research too.
I agree with that. Yeah, of course. They're not saying only buy things you research or you can learn it all before you go out, or get stuck as a perfectionist and only research and don't do any shopping. But it makes your life a little easier if you kind of know what you're looking for. Like there's so many stories of people saying, I went to a flea market and I looked at something. I knew exactly what it was worth. So I was able to make an educated offer. That's so different than I had no idea what it was worth. So I offered him $50 and he gave it to me. And I took it home and Jeannie was right. It sold for 10. You know what I mean? So you can get trapped into things that look so cool and are not worth anything. I found some Marlboro cards that looked amazing, like sealed, brand new. It's vintage. I remember back in the day when I was a kid when cigarette advertising was still legal. I remember that. It's so cool. And the person was like $5 and I'm like, done. Don't even have to look it up. And then when I got home, it was like $4 shipped. You know, super. And all the ones on eBay were also sealed and brand new and perfect. They just literally printed millions of those. It was not worth anything. So it's just like, but I have no business buying that. Let's go K-Storm and then Jocelyn and then Pixie.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to give an analogy for researching before you go. It's kind of like how when, say, usually it's like with cars, and maybe you bought a new car, and it's a car you never had before. Now, all of a sudden, that's all the car you see.
Yep. That's exactly right. That's the, so somebody asked Tech how often he finds sports specialties hats. Those are really valuable vintage hats, right? And he said, every time I look for them. And it sounds ridiculous, but like, yeah, it's a reticular activating system. But like somebody asked him, how do you find those? And he said, every time I look for them. Imagine that. Jocelyn?
Hello. Are you there? Hello. Okay, so I found a lady the other day who I went to an estate sale, and she says she does some cleaning for some affluent people, and she's collected a lot of items that they didn't want, and they're like Black Label Ralph Lauren and fur coats, things of that nature. And so we talked about how we could work together. And so I'm at a place where I've never done that. So I don't know what to do, like, or how to structure that so that it's a win-win for everybody. She wants to make, I'm sure, a considerable profit. Like she said, maybe 50-50. And I thought, is that what people do?
I mean, people, so my initial thought and probably the recommendation from the group is you would want to make an offer that allows you to make the profit margin that you're looking for from that lot. That's the group's advice would be, let's say it's worth $2,000. We would never recommend do 50-50, you take it for free, go home, sell for 2,000, give the lady 1,000, you keep the rest, because it's an accounting nightmare. It's hard to keep track of everything. Even though you're getting it for free, you're paying for it with your time to get that. The recommendation would be, can you offer her 500 for it? You sell it for 2,000 and make your money. Don't have to do any accounting. That would be the group's recommendation, most likely. But some people, and I've made that mistake too, just give it to me and we'll split it 50-50. But then you have to send them an update every 2 weeks, letting them know what the status is on those items. Hi, good morning. Morning. Let's go with Pixie and then let's go with Pixie.
Wait, one moment here.
Go ahead, Jocelyn.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to offer her a certain value. The value that I'm going to get from that, or how I calculate that, is through like therapy.
Oh, no.
You know,
So this is where it's hard, because you have to already know, like in that type of a moment where the deal is coming up, you have to have an idea of what you think you can sell for. Otherwise, don't make an offer. It's too risky. You don't know. Like you can use that money for something else that you do know. This is where we were talking about earlier. Doing the research and having the knowledge before you go to that deal allows you to make the proper offer.
Okay. So like she sent me pictures. So now what I can do is research and then come back to her with a dollar amount.
That's right.
Right? Okay. All right. Thank you.
We'll go Pixie and then Ryan.
So kind of like circling back into the researching and that element, the zip code, and since we're on YouTube, the ones of you guys that are not in the group, we have something called a zip code call where it teaches you how to do the research, but it's not just a bolo of what to look for, it's also what not to pick up. Because when you're doing the zip code call and you're looking and you're researching, you can find out what isn't selling. And then when you're traveling, like I'm getting ready to go to Mississippi, you can kind of do the zip code call for where you're going and where you're going to be sourcing, because there's going to be brands that's not familiar to you in your area. And so there's just so much research that you can do for so many different scenarios that's really beneficial.
I agree, Ryan.
1 second, sorry guys, I'm sorry.
All good.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm not new to online sales, but I'm new to this group, and I started from a dead start on January 19th. I just crossed 130 sales, a little under 2,000, totally thanks to your tech. And I've sold a lot of things that break even or a loss just to get to the top rated seller status. And I was a top rated seller a long time ago. So my question, Chris, is, I heard Tech say that some items stay in his store for 8 or 9 months before they sell. And, I've seen that model. Here's the item, buy it now, here's the price, and I'll just fill my store and just wait till they sell. I'm not going to be cutting prices, and they'll just sell when they sell. And, I'm thinking now that I kind of got these under my belt, I can throttle back a little bit, just trying to move things to get a transaction. And just, put stuff up for $15 profit and wait. That's my question. Thank you.
So Ryan, this is an interesting question, because I'm just going to give you one example that came to mind when Tech was talking about t-shirts that he bought. So let's just say you bought 10 t-shirts for $4 each, and they were from size extra small to extra large. Most likely the extra large and large would sell right away, because it's something that a lot of people are looking for. They're the right size. Maybe the size extra small and small sit in your store for a year or 2 years. That's part of the cycle. Some items taking longer. So you just have to average it out with the items that sell right away. That's how I look at that. So some items take longer, but also we're not counting the items that sell right away.
Right. No, thank you. I think, there's no gimmicks, there's no tricks. clearly you guys are seasoned business people. I don't hear anything here that I would object to or argue with. I think it's just remarkably solid, good advice, and it reflects all my many, many years in business. And I've got lots of years in business doing lots of different things. And I just think you guys are right on. And like I say, I banged out 130 units thanks to you, you know, and now I'm going to throttle back and raise my prices and sit back a little. So thank you.
But just to give you an idea, those of you listening right now, Ryan has experience in business. He started in January. So he's done this before. Heidi, are you listening? He's done lots of business for a long time. He's still only doing 4 a day because he's still learning the ropes, starting from the beginning, learning how everything is going. This is somebody who's been doing business for a long time that's learning to do it the right way for 1 to 4 at a time. Like, it's easy to skip ahead and want to do a lot, but and he's also selling items for break even or a little loss to get top rated. But that's a lesson. And sometimes those items are either items you got cheap, or you took a gamble on, or you already had them. Like, you took a loss, but you already own the item. It's like a different type of strategy, but something to think about when it comes to being patient. Like, I know that when I start my eBay store again, one day, if I get my account back, I'm going to start slow because it's already really fast. If you're increasing by a couple of listings a day, the momentum is really fast. You don't have to be in a hurry. You don't have to jump from 0 to 15 listings because it doesn't require that kind of speed to really build some momentum. It just takes way longer.
Now, Chris, you know, first time I walked into a thrift store, I was like, oh God, you know, what is all this garbage? You know, or the first time I walked into a TJ Maxx, I was like, oh geez. Now I can blow through a thrift store in 10 minutes or less. I mean, I can go through a TJ Maxx, boom, 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 boom. I know these are the items I need. This is what I need. Boom, I'm out. You know, and so you know, I don't need to look through all the clearance toys. I don't need to look through all the pet items and, you know, Adidas handbags. No, I just I'm gone. You know, that's how I can see how he does 55 thrift stores in a week. Because I'm not sitting there looking at every piece of jewelry, every piece of electronics, every shoe. No, I know exactly what I need, and I'm out. Oh, thank you. All due to you guys.
Hey, man, I want to chime in on that too. That would be one of the things that I learned. I remember when I first got when I first admitted, okay, this is what I'm going to sell to myself. When I went into the thrift store next, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, it wasn't so stressful of like, okay, I need to, like what he just said, I need to look at this. I need to look at, there's money over there. There's money over there. There's money. No, you go in, you know what you're looking for, and you're out. And that's one of the things that I learned from being in the group too.
Yeah, okay, that's me too. It's just it's honestly disappointing when you hear the advice that niching down is the answer, because it sounds too simple to work. Like, all I have to do to make more money is sell less things. Doesn't sound right, but it is right. Because, like the example we talked about today of selling 10 different things, you know what I mean? How difficult that is. The longer you've been doing this, the more you understand how difficult it is to do 10 different things a day. It's like, you know what? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go get my job at the coffee shop for an hour. Then I'm going to go my next job, which is being a locksmith. Then my next job is being a busboy. Then my next job is being, janitor. You could do that, but it's harder than just being a janitor all day. Appreciate everybody on YouTube. We're going to switch over to the beginner call. I'm so glad that I have, even though I still have some squirrel brain, I'm so glad that I have niched down a lot. Appreciate everybody on YouTube. So we talk about in the group privately every day, Monday through Friday, and we'll see you guys next week.